Good morning, welcome. Alan here with our Friday morning drop-in meditation class. Just adjusting a few things. Hope you're well, and I hope we can stay connected for our whole session. Fortunately, last week we dropped out, NBN dropped us out at about halfway through the session. So hopefully that won't happen again. But we can't really control these things. So we'll just hope we have the good karma to stay connected. So just to help us get inspired, have a quote here from Lama Yeshe about meditation, how it helps. Why meditate is the heading. He says, if we want to do something positive with our life to find satisfaction, to find happiness and joy, instead of depression and misery, to overcome the feeling that our nature is totally negative, to make our life useful to all beings, we need a method that is at least as powerful as the endless, confused, materialistic energies that we're so often caught up with. Philosophical ideas, no matter how grand, are just not strong enough to help us out of our present crisis. By themselves, such ideas are as insubstantial as clouds. They may look convincing at first, but they quickly evaporate, leaving us helpless and as unhappy as before. What we need is something active, something powerful, something direct. What we need are the tools of meditation. The tools of meditation. So those tools we will use today, and we do our mindfulness practice, as always, for our first 20-25 minutes of the session. And then we do an analytical meditation for the second half, as always. So, the mindfulness practice will be starting with the breath, as usual. And then we'll just a little introduction from Alan Wallace about Dzogchen. So Dzogchen meditation is from the Nyingma tradition. And basically, we use the object of meditation as awareness itself. So he very skillfully teaches that a good way of developing this skill, as Lama Yeshe says, a tool of meditation, is to use awareness as the idea of a lighthouse surrounded by the sea. The lighthouse is strong, on the rock, immovable. And the sea, the waves come up to the lighthouse and then fall back. And the lighthouse just stays immovable, solid, still. So this analogy we use for our awareness, like a lighthouse. We start off, as always, with the breath to calm the mind, just watching the rhythm of the breath in the body. And then if we feel we want to try this Dzogchen practice, we can gently let go of the breath, partly or fully, and imagine that stillness around the breath is our awareness, the lighthouse of awareness. And the breath is coming to meet our awareness, like the waves coming up to the lighthouse. So we don't actually have to reach out to the breath, or we just, like watching the breath out of the corner of our eye, our mind's eye. The breath comes to us, like the waves come to the lighthouse. So if we feel we've got this stability after we've done, say, 5 or 10 minutes of our breathing meditation, we can try the Dzogchen practice using the lighthouse of our awareness to rest strongly, stillly, firmly, and just watch our awareness. And out of the corner of our mind's eye, we can see the breath coming and going. It's like the breath is coming to us. We don't have to go to it. Same with thoughts. Thoughts will come and go like waves, like the breath. And again, they come and go. The lighthouse stillness of awareness stays as it is. Just a few quotes from Alan Watts' teaching to help with this practice. You're aware of the rhythm of the breath, but we're not directly focusing on the breath. The experience of the breath will rise up to meet you. Let it do that. From the side, we just note the breath. We don't direct our attention there. And the prime experience is aware of being aware, non-conceptual. Just like Lama Yeshe says, we drop the philosophy and we just experience awareness of awareness. Stay firm, not moving as the waves rise and fall. All right. So that will be our practice, mindful practice. So I think we haven't done the 9-round breathing for a while. So if you feel you'd like to, let's do the 9-round breathing. Anyone not familiar with it? Basically what we do is breathe three times in through the right nostril and out through the left. 3 times in through the left, out through the right. And then 3 times in through both nostrils, out through both nostrils. The reason we do this before our meditation is it's said to really be good to calm the mind, clear the obstacles to our practice. We have the option of visualizing when we do breathe in each nostril, breathing in white light or the positive energy of the universe in the form of white light, breathing out black smoke with the out breath, which is all our obstacles, all our negativities and obstacles to our practice. And we can use one finger to block the nostril we're not using, or we can just visualize that. Okay, let's begin. Find a comfortable position, sitting, lying, something in between, where the body is relaxed, can let go completely. The body's relaxed, the mind can relax. And we'll begin with the 9-round breathing, starting with the right nostril, 3 times in through the right, out through the left. Breath. Three times in through the left and out through the right. And then 3 times in through both nostrils, out through both nostrils. Feeling after the practice, we have now purified the body, which is clean, clear, like crystal. And then coming to normal breathing. Starting with our state of mind, putting it in a positive direction, thinking how fortunate we are to be able to take care of our mind in this session, how we can just let go the outside distractions, outside obligations, all the having to do, having to be. We can let go of all that. Returning our mind to its natural state. Doing the practice to benefit not just ourselves, but those around us. Not just those around us, but those all sentient beings ultimately. For having a calm, liberated, enlightened mind, we can benefit all sentient beings, ultimately. Now we come into our body. Scanning it, are we comfortable? Are we evenly balanced? Weight distributed evenly on the floor of the chair. Shoulders relaxed. Eyes can be closed or just gently open. Softly gazing ahead. Feeling gentle pull of gravity into the earth, the weight of the body. With each out breath, surrendering to gravity. Surrendering to the earth. Gradually giving more attention to the breath and how the body moves with each breath. How the breath is always there, but now we're noticing it. Giving full awareness to the breath. Focusing at the nostril or lower down at the abdomen, or just watching the whole body with each breath. Most comfortable point. And then when we find that comfortable point, imagine we're just putting down a heavy load. All our attention is resting there. Just easy awareness on the breath. Just one breath at a time. The full flow of the in-breath and the full flow of the out-breath. We're right there. How much are we on the breath? Have we wanted? Using introspection, vigilance, to check every now and again where our mind is. If we're on the breath, we leave it there. If we've been distracted by thoughts, past or future, plans, whatever, we notice that. We're aware. We're distracted, we let it go. Gently let go of that distraction. Patiently come back to the breath. That's the practice. Thoughts may come and go. We're not distracted by them. We let them pass because we're actually fully focused on the breath. So now, choice, you can choose to stay with the breath as your object of meditation for the whole session, or you can try the Dzogchen awareness of awareness practice. In this practice, it's said to be good to just open the eyes, let some light in. And from the breath, we just move to the stillness around the breath, the quiet mind. The mind of awareness, aware of being aware. We can still see the breath there at the side, but like a strong lighthouse on the rock, our awareness steady and firm. The waves of the breath come up to our awareness and then fall back. Resting in that stillness, the lighthouse of awareness, immovable. Thoughts may come, the waves of the breath come and go, but our awareness stays still, like the lighthouse. So just relax and break a stretch. Refreshment. So the second practice, we're still on the air, which is good. I hope we're still on the air. Is this interesting analytical meditation on the 6 elements. We analyze the 6 elements that make up our body and mind. It's part of a practice that looks at self, just on the emptiness side of the teachings. And we use the elements to look at each part of our physical makeup and our mental makeup and see whether we can find the sense of self that all of us carry around as unenlightened beings, a sense of ego that we hold on to and which, in fact, doesn't exist the way we think it does. So I thought again, Lama Yeshe, a little bit of words of wisdom on the practice of looking at the ego or the sense of self. And he says, quite simply, ego is the mistaken conception that yourself is independent, permanent, and inherently existent. In reality, what you believe to be the I doesn't exist. It's very important to look closely at. In reality, what you believe to be the I doesn't exist. It's very important to look closely at this belief and see it for what it is, a hallucination, not founded in reality. So what you believe is powerful, and wrong beliefs very effectively perpetuate wrong views. Often people seem to think that if you aren't one with your ego, you can't have a life, you get a job or do anything. You think that if you lose your ego, you'll lose your personality, your mind, your human nature. That's a dangerous delusion, that you can't separate ego from mind, ego from life. Please don't worry about that. If you see through the delusion of ego, you'll actually be very happy, and happy in a way that is not dependent on causes and conditions. This meditation on looking at the 6 elements. So with the practice, we just look at the physical element of each, physical aspect of each element, like for example, earth. How is that relating to our body? The body is the earth element in our sense of self. It's got a sense of being strong and resistant and solid. So we look at the organs of the body, the hair, the teeth, the nails, skeleton, and so on. And then we also look at the outer elements in the earth, in the world, the cushion we're sitting on, the room, and then we look at how we connect the outer element, the inner element. In the case of the earth, it's by eating food. We eat the earth element of food, take it into our body, digest it. So Then at the end of each element, we think, now, which part of this element is me, myself? Can I actually find any self-existing concrete I there? So we ask that question. As Lama Yeshe says, ultimately we can't. When we analyse, we can't find the self. We've got the belief it's there, strong, innate kind of belief, but we're trying to actually loosen that grasping, that sense of self, which Lama Yeshe says is quite a wonderful feeling if we can do that. So that's basically the practice. At the start of the practice, there's a wonderful quotation by Nagarjuna in the Precious Garland. I'll read it. A person is not earth, is not water, not fire, not wind, not space, not consciousness, and not all of them. What person is there other than these? End of quote. So get comfortable and we'll do the practice. So getting comfortable, sitting, lying. So begin the practice of analysing the 6 elements which make up the experience of being human, starting with the earth element. This element has the aspect of being solid and resistant. The inner element is our body, the sense of our body sitting here, the weight of the body. Reflect on parts of the body, the organs, the ingested food in the body. These are aspects of the earth element within us. Then we turn our attention to the outer aspects of the earth element. The cushion we're sitting on, the floor, the walls of the room, the house. Beyond is the roads, the trees, the mountains, people, continents. Get a sense of the vastness of the earth element, the external earth element. How are these outer and inner earth elements connected? Mainly through the food we eat. From the beginning, in our mother's womb, the nutrients flowed from our mother's placenta into us as milk we drank while we were babies. And then the food we consume each day, all from the earth. The food's ingested into our body, rejoins the outer elements when we excrete, when we lose hair, shedding skin in the form of dust, Eventually, when we die, then the body returns to the earth. Through decomposition or cremation. Can any part of this earth element be me? Can we say, this is mine? This is myself? Next, we come to the water element. The inner water element is wet, flowing. In the body, it's made up of saliva, blood, sweat, mucus, urine, lymph, cerebrospinal fluid, the water that pervades the cells of the body. Getting a sense of that water element in the body. The outer water element we can see as the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the ponds, rain falling, clouds, tap water. Now, the connection between the outer and inner water element. We ingest fluids by drinking, eating. And we return the water element by breathing out, sweating, urinating. Feeling that movement, the connection between the outer and inner water elements. Can we find a sense of self in the water element? This is me. This belongs to me. Anything we can hold onto is mine. Next, the fire element has the aspect of energy. The one we experience is heat in the body, the warmth of the body, the energy created from metabolism as we burn up the food, warms the body. Electricity flowing through the nervous system. This is energy in the body. The fire element. Externally, the fire element ultimately comes from the sun, powered by the sun's energy. Captured, sun's energy captured in the form of fossil fuels which we burn. Energy stored in our food which we eat from the sun. Energy coming from the earth in the form of volcanoes. Now Now the connection between the outer and inner earth element. We can feel the heat from the sun on our body, the heat from the fire as we burn the fuel, the heat generated from our eating, digesting food. We return this heat energy back to the outside by radiating heat from our bodies. And we lose heat from exhaling, excretion. Can we say with the fire element, is there anything that we can identify as self, as me? Anything ultimately belonging to me, mine? Now the air element or wind element. In our inner world, it comes in as air that flows in and out of our nostrils. We experience this during breath meditation. The air dissolves through our lungs into the blood. All the gases, chemical reactions changing, oxygen turning into carbon dioxide. The connection is through our breath, breathing in, inhaling the oxygen, exhaling, returning to the air, carbon dioxide. The same with every living being. Again, we ask, can we find the self in the air element? Anything that is inherently me, inherently belonging to me. The fifth element, the space element, includes the cavities in the body, the chest cavity, the nasal cavity, the space in the windpipe and the lungs, stomach, air in the intestine, you know the space around the cells of the body. You know that the atoms making up the cells have space. The space between the subatomic particles of the body. That's the inner space element. The outer space element extends beyond our house, and space between objects. The space between planets, between solar systems, between galaxies. Space pervades all the material world. Where does the outer space element and inner space element end and begin? Our skin is a boundary, but the skin has pores. Even our skin is full of space. where in the space element can we find a sense of self, anything to hold on to that is me, mine? The last element, consciousness, the mind. One of the 6 elements, the non-material element, non-physical. It's the element of our knowing, our being aware. Consciousness, often said to be like a mirror, a river, changing moment by moment, changing moments of consciousness. The river of experiences, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, imagining, remembering, feeling emotions, sleeping, dreaming. Each moment of consciousness is different. Caused by the previous moment of consciousness. Consciousness is different from the physical elements, but is not independent of them. Seeing relies on light, visual shape and colour, and eye consciousness. Feeling that connection between our consciousness and the sense world. Where does consciousness begin and end? Each moment flowing into the next moment of consciousness. Can we find any boundaries around consciousness? Can we find anything that is inherently me? That is an essence of self. Can we find that ultimately mine in the consciousness? So then we can ask the question, can this person, this sense of I, be found amongst the elements, the individual elements? Can we find it in the sum total of all those elements? Or can we find the self apart from those elements? What can we claim as ours, as being the self? Just simply ask the question and listen to the heart's response. No intellectualizing, just feeling. To Nagarjuna's verse, a person is not earth, not water, not fire, not wind, not space, not consciousness, and not all of them. What person is there other than these? So we can draw whatever conclusion we can from this analysis. Perhaps loosening that somewhat solid sense of self that we start off with, an independent sense of ourself as a bubble rolling through life. Letting go of that, loosening our grasp, our hold. As Lama Yeshe said, letting go of that can be greatly joyful. If you can see through the delusion of ego, you'll actually be very happy. And happy in a way that's not dependent on causes and conditions, says Lama Yeshe. So, finally, just before we're still on the air, which is great, just read Lama Zopa's dedication that he recommends for dedicating prayers and practices during the pandemic. He says that however many sick sentient beings there are, may they quickly be freed from their illness, their sickness. May all the sicknesses, without exception, of transmigrating beings never occur again. May the Buddha Dharma last for a long time, and may sentient beings in this world meet the Buddha Dharma and achieve enlightenment as quickly as possible. Dedicated to that. So that's our session today. Thanks so much for being there. Good to be with you. Have a wonderful day and a good week, good healthy week. And I hope to see you next week, same time, Friday, for our Friday drop-in meditation. Take care.